And we're back.
As Chair Pro Tem, I call this inaugural meeting of the Hawaii County Council to order. Councilwoman Karen Eoff, could you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilwoman and Vice Chairwoman Karen Eoff. At this time, we will take up statements from the public on agenda items. Committee number 1.2, Mr. Bobby Gomes Sr.
I'm not sure, this is my first time.
Okay, right there, please take a seat. You may proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chairman, council members. This is my first time. I just came and on behalf of my lady. I'd like to say that I know her personally, and I understand that she's been considered today for her appointment, and I'd ask that each and every one of you please support her. And I think she will do a very good job. She's an honest woman. I've known her a long time. I may be biased because we're related, but that's all I have to say. I thank you for having me, to allow me the privilege of coming here and talking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Uncle Bobby. We all related. If relations is a bias, we could never conduct business. Thank you, Uncle Bobby, for your comment. Communication number 1.1, 1.2 through resolution numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 13. Mr. Tim Rees.
Good afternoon, aloha, Mr. Mayor and council members-elect. Congratulations to everybody. I probably shouldn't do this, but I can't help myself, so I'm going to speak a little bit on some of these items. And
Tim, you know, gotta, you know. If you feel compelled, then please proceed.
Dang it, the first lie I told this council, I get busted on that. Resolution 1, I want to just say I'm glad to see Chairman Yoshimoto. I hope he'll be voted in, and I always thought you were a pretty good chairman of the council. I want to say one thing on how it looks like some of these decisions, I shouldn't say have been made, and they are agendized, and you'll be deliberating and voting on them. I just, you know, the OIP, the rules of Robert's Rules of Order, they're kind of tough to follow all the time for elected representatives. And if you think of what elected representatives are, that is a very heavy thing. I mean, if you look at all the people in this room, every person you see or you meet in your life, crazy fact and the beautiful fact is that they're a distillation of all the hopes and dreams of their ancestors, believe it or not, as crazy as that sounds. Now, some people have very noble lineage, and they're very fortunate to have that. Some of us have more rascally lineage and all that. We just got to deal with that whole mix that we have been blessed or cursed with. But when you multiply that by the fact that you represent each individually about, what, 10,000 each one of you, and in the mayor's situation, well, 180,000 or so, or I don't know what the number is. I guess my math is off. It must be closer to 20,000 each. That's awesome. That's great human equation mathematics. Simple enough even for me to get. I love that stuff. Resolution 2, well, back to how it came about. I just want to say the OIP could be a real pain in the neck. I always think that this council has done better than the whole state on trying to comply with those issues. But I just got to say this because in the future something might come up. And I got to say they strongly recommended, in their opinion, that you not organize yourselves outside of a, you know, it needed to be a public meeting. Of course, they went into this long formal opinion and they said, you're not violating any law, but you are violating the intent and the spirit of the law. It's a legal loophole. No harm, no foul. On your rules, you know, as a board, you are in control of your own rules. That's good. But the people should have some say because you are elected representatives of the people again. Maybe we get 120,000 say on what the rules actually come down as. So I'm real happy to see all these appointments. I'm glad you did it. No harm, no foul. It really just seems to move the business along. So I'll move it along myself. Resolution 212, carrying Eoff. Mr. Mayor, Chair Pro Tem, very happy to see Ms. Eoff in there. You know, since I've been down here bugging the councils and what have you, this is one lady that you can count on who's very intelligent, astute, and really does the best work that she can for our county. We're very lucky to have her. Resolution 312, I don't know Stuart Maeda, so again, I'm just glad you made your decision. You can move things along. Resolution 412. Okay, now we're going to get into this thing about the rules here. I got to give you a little bit of my opinion here. A lot of this is kind of nitpicky stuff, so take it with a grain of salt, and I'll be done quickly. I don't see, I'm looking at the agenda, and it says you adopt the new rules of procedure and organization of the Council of the County of Hawaii. It's an agendized item, but it doesn't exist yet. It will exist when you go through your communication 1.1, and hopefully someone introduces a motion saying you move to amend the 2010-2012 rules, or they're not new council rules. The rules are always in effect. You have no way to get into this meeting and get out of it. You have no way to do your invocation or anything. The rules are perpetual, just like the representation of the council is perpetual to the people of Hawaii. The people change chairs. You're free to amend them how you wish, as long as you don't violate any county, state, county constitution, charters, and all that. I just wish that you remember that. The rules are perpetual, and now what you actually are doing is make a motion to amend, not to adopt. That would be my advice to you. But if I say I strongly recommend that, I hope you don't ignore that as readily as you ignored the OIP's opinion. Now, I have one problem with these rules. I'm going to move into the communication itself, 1.1. That is this. Our administration does a great job trying to comply with ADA accessibility. So we go out in our parks, all our public facilities. Some people see it as a huge burden. Well, I remember conversations at this council when you authorized funding to do the video conferencing and set up these sites. One of the big arguments was it'll save money. People won't have to drive over and pay the hotel fee, right? And it will open it up for disabled folks too. It's easier to come testify to the council. Now, if I understand if you're going to run for county council, you better keep your Tuesdays and Wednesdays open, right? That goes with the territory. But for the life of me, I cannot see why you would discourage unintentionally disabled people from applying to become a county council representative. And when you say you're going to sanction somebody or censure them, unless it's an extremely unusual circumstance, I don't dig it. I don't dig it at all. I think you're sending the wrong message as one of your first acts on this day. So please allow people, council members, to testify from where they can go. The state law, it's 92 something or other, it says for purposes of voting and quorum, as long as the county lists the site where council members may be attending, that's all good and cool for purposes of voting and quorum. It should be that way. Please don't discourage any disabled people from coming forward and running for county council. But right now, you all look very handsome, very pretty, and all in great health and everything. But as disabled friends of mine have said, it's an equal opportunity club. So at any time, one of you can become disabled, and I would hold no grudge against anybody testifying from video conference and voting for video conference. That's why we spent the money to set up the system, not just about testifiers. Thank you, and I got into a bit of my traditional rant, and I think I'm done with that. And Resolution 1312. Again, I'm happy to see these folks, Mr. Onishi and Mr. Ilagan. And appointment of the Deputy Clerk, Stuart Maeda, is appointing Miley David. Real happy to see that. I think Miley David, the same words I had for Karen Eoff, I had for Miley David, and I'm really glad to see her there. Thanks a lot. Enough of me ranting, and good to meet you all.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
May I kindly suggest to the distinguished members of this county council, as well as our newly appointed county clerk, we should hire somebody like Tim Rees. We need him on our side over here. Thank you, Tim. This time, is there anyone from the Pahoa Council office willing or desiring to testify?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We have Mr. Jon Olsen representing himself today.
Okay, aloha. Aloha, Jon Olsen, please. Mr. Olsen can testify at your...
Introduce it. He'll be speaking on Resolution 412, Communication 1.1 in opposition with a few comments.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, and congratulations, and my condolences. You've got a job cut out for you. I am concerned with Communication 1-1 insofar as it contains changes to the operations of the council that, as I understand it, would stop any meeting of the council at 6 p.m. I think it's fair to remind you that you were elected, not anointed. The business of the people needs to be done when the people can be there to view what business you're doing. Public testimony should start at 5 p.m. so that the broadest number of people can participate in this process. Another issue is that, as I read it, under this communique, if you were not present, if you left the council chambers and a vote were held, your non-presence would precipitate a yes vote on whatever motion was on the floor. So I think those are things of concern. I know that this was used in prior councils as a tactic, and I don't think it's one that should be brought back. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Anyone from the Waimea Council office wishing to testify?
Good afternoon, Chair. We do not have any testifiers this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Any testifiers in the Kona Council office?
Good afternoon. We have no testifiers in Kona.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'd like to call up Ms. Judy Jacobsen, speaking on resolution number 1-13. Our Councilwoman, Judy Jacobsen. Aloha.
Aloha, everyone. I'm speaking for myself and also my husband, former Councilmember Bob Jacobsen, who's, as you may know, some of you heard this already, but we're tea farmers now, and he's actually in the process of marketing tea, white tea, in Vancouver right now. So, but I think mostly I just want to welcome all of you on board, and I'm excited about a new term and so many new faces, and I'm starting to get in that category of age where, oh my goodness, they're so young, and gosh, can we trust these young people? But I think it's good to see the young faces, and I'm glad you're all here, and I welcome all of you. I remind you that when I was on the council, it was a partisan job, and it was a partisan, people were elected on a partisan basis, and I still believe in that, and I think that'd be a great thing to return to. I might try to propose it in 2020, but that's not ahead before us now. So I'm just going to remind you from my political party, the Green Party, that there's 4 key values that I kept in mind as I evaluated each and every vote I took, and those were economic and social justice, nonviolence, grassroots democracy, and then sort of our signature issue, or signature cause, if you will, is the environment. And if you think of those 4 things and you really evaluate it in terms of those things, I think you'll be making good decisions. It seems to me like we don't have as many of those really monumentally monstrous ideas like spaceport, Cobalt-60, a nuclear fuel for irradiating food, or big private prisons, or anyway, those are a few that come to mind, and maybe we're getting a little more sensible about it. But a lot of issues that relate to zoning decisions, special use, you won't make the special use permits, but development of land issues are very key, tied to all 4 of those issues that and I think I won't elaborate a great deal on that, but please keep that in mind. The economic and social justice in these times, of course, is always big before us. And I think if you're thinking of being fair, I mean, I wish, for example, that the county council could, for example, just impose a parking fee for those big jets that come to the Kona airport, people's private jets. And, you know, we wrestle with, should we allow parking here or there, and should we charge and things like that, and here's these, you know, multi-million-dollar planes that just park at our state airport. I think with no particular charge on them. I think some really good things are going. I think using, I guess a big theme to me is using solar and wind power. We all know that dilution isn't the solution to pollution, but the whole idea of extraction and what is, I'm sorry, that's my phone. I don't really know how to turn it off that well. But as far as the extraction goes, when you, I guess I'm thinking in
Put
terms
the
of,
phone up to the mic so we can hear what the ringtone is.
I got it.
No.
I keep it in a little sock. Isn't that cute? Anyway, but extraction, let's get to the serious thing. And I'm thinking of geothermal in particular, but it could be even as we look at the water wells and things like that too. But when we think of extracting from the earth, when we really don't need to here, and I think the area of Puna is really proof. I've lived off the solar grid for 31 years now. Some people have done it for longer than that, but it does work. And I want to commend the administration on the initiative to solar heat the whole pool. I think Mrs. Helene Hale talked about that back in her terms and when the whole idea was being developed, but it didn't happen then. But a lot of us like to swim in warm water, and it's something you can do if you very easily with solar power.
With all due respect, I've been, the 3 minutes are up if you
Okay.
want to switch items. Or
Well, I guess if I'll just say switch to, that's it on that, to the rules. I just kind of want to disagree with Tim Rees that there's any disability issue with with members coming to the meeting. You know, how they get there, what kind of car they ride in, or I'm not even sure whether you can get your wheelchair up to your chairs. But if you had a deaf person, you'd have sign language. If you had a blind person, you'd probably need some visual adaptations. You adapt to things, but you don't let people out of the key responsibility. I think that idea of being there in person is very critical. I think if you want to look at it like the video conferencing is for the, might help meet the disabled's needs to come and testify, so it's handy for the public, but I believe a council member should be there. And I also agree with Jon Olsen on the issue of, and I say this because I've been to some of those meetings that lasted till 9 or 10 o'clock, but the problem, although it seems reasonable from a physiological standpoint and your thinking and all of that, but the problem is that when you decide at the end of that long meeting that you're going to meet at another time, and then the public isn't there, won't necessarily be available to come to that meeting or attend that meeting, I think it is better to really make it the exception to end the meeting early when it's not done, and that generally I'd like to see you, if you do have that rule, to generally vote to continue and finish the business, and especially because this very reason that makes you have a long meeting is that there's a lot of public with strong feelings about it that would like to see it resolved. And then my third thing is each of you swore to, and I appreciate this and certainly commend it, to uphold the Constitution and the state, U.S. Constitution, the state Constitution, but never yet have we put it in that oath for any of the positions to uphold the county charter. And I think that should be in there. And I really feel that it's lacking because there are things where our charter gives us guidance on important issues, such as the 2% now being in the charter. And I think there's a lot of people who would certainly feel strongly that helping to enforce our cannabis laws as the last priority, but that's a big issue for a lot of people and was probably a big variable in some of the races that were held. So anyway, those are some sort of key areas. I want to wish you all well and thank you for serving. Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you very much. Please give your husband, former Councilman Bob Jacobsen, all of our aloha as well. Now to call up Ms. Joyce Folena, talk on resolution 4-1. 12. 4-12. Thank you, Joyce. Aloha.
Aloha, Mayor and presiding temporary chairman. Okay. And these new rules for the county council, we take serious issue with calling the meeting off at 6 p.m. And the reason we take serious issue with this is when we do have a highly debatable agenda with one or more hot topics, many people come in here to testify. And to tell these people, sorry, it's 6 o'clock, go home, is out of the question. That's slapping us in the face. I can't say it any more strongly than that. I do take serious issue with a silence is considered an affirmative vote. The public is not always as attentive as it should be. For instance, when someone's watching a DVD, or someone's in this audience, or someone's watching the proceedings via computer or television, it is imperative that every vote, every single time, be noted by every person taking interest. So every person that wants to vote yes should say yes or aye. Raise your hand, however you're taking this vote. And every person that, what's that word, Kanuha? Kanuha twice is yes, Kanuha once is no. That should be explained at every meeting, because a lot of people don't know, what do you say, Kanuha? What's this? It's not yes, it's not no. What does this mean? So I ask you, this is not on the agenda, but I ask you to please announce that at every meeting. The rest of the rules, to my uneducated mind, seem to be fairly all right. I do have a question. I want clarification. Page 15, reconsideration. We are anticipating the mayor to veto Bill 292. This is a specific, it's also a general question. I think the mayor has until the 5th to do this. I think we counted right. Whether it's the 3rd, 4th, or 5th, we're anticipating the mayor's veto. And this Bill 292 is to prevent any geothermal drilling from the hours of 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. to allow people proper rest. I'm saying all this redundantly for the sake of the public. My question is this, page 15.1, number 2. This is rule number 15, reconsideration in the new rules. I hope I have enough time to read this. When a motion has been made and carried in the affirmative or negative, any council member voting with the prevailing side may move for a reconsideration of the vote on the motion at the same meeting with the next meeting. However, second sentence. However, any council member who wishes to ask for a motion, there are 30 seconds, to reconsider at the next meeting must notify the council or committee chairperson, county clerk, in writing their intention to make such a motion within 5 working days after the disposition of the motion to be reconsidered. Here's the redundancy in my mind. Does this mean that in this case, since Councilwoman Brenda Ford is the only council member at this time in the new council that voted on Bill 292, and Brenda voted in, sorry, Councilwoman Ford, Brenda voted in the, Brenda in the prevailing side, which was, it passed with 5 votes. Now the question is, concerning the way these rules are written, and I asked this of Lincoln Ashita a few moments ago, perhaps you should ask him too. Does this mean that any council member can ask for reconsideration of this bill in order to override, and the reason is in order to override the mayor's veto? We don't expect the overriding vote, but we want this matter brought to this council on record, documented. How are these people going to vote on this issue? We want to know from the beginning how you people stand on this issue. What's the mechanism to bring this up?
It's not an agenda item 1, and you've exceeded your 3 minutes at this point in time, Joyce, but...
No, the agenda item is number 2. I want clarification on that.
Well, I just got one now.
My 3 minutes are up, but I have an agendized item. It's number 2 on page 15.1. I want clarification. Thank you.
I've been informed at this point in time that we're accepting and taking public statements at this time, and no discussion. No discussion.
I know
Sorry.
that, Mayor. I know that. My comment is I want clarification of your discussion.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Joyce.
You're welcome.
Okay, coming up next, Mr. Gregory T. Smith speaking on resolution numbers 4-12.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon, Council, and welcome all. I mean, you're stepping right into it, first thing. But anyway, yeah, I have a problem with 1-1 and the possibility of cutting meetings off what I consider short. I do sympathize with you, but I have no, for wanting to keep a reasonable workday, but I have no compassion because I used to be a commercial fisherman. Our days used to go out 20 hours or more, sometimes 48. So the point is, and a clarification would be really good on the point that Joyce just made. I just want to speak very briefly on just to ask you to think about public health and safety as number one. That's all. Just that. Because, we have so many times when, I've seen in my life and here in Hawaii where, corporations and large money can tend to roll over the people. And as far as the geothermal thing, just very briefly, it's the location, not the technology, that is the beef. And so long as we have an industrial plant in a residential area, you're going to have problems. And you'll always have people coming in here and taking up county time. We have to do a resolution because we do have a threat. I consider it a threat to my kuleana down there in Puna, right? Of turning that place into an industrial zone. Right now we live 3.5 miles from the present plant. There's another plant coming within 1.5 miles proposed, and then another 2 down near the coast. And we could resolve this whole thing by moving that present plant and other future plants away from the population. And that's it. That's the beef. In any case, you guys, welcome all of your service. I really appreciate it. I couldn't do this kind of job. Okay, mahalo.
Mahalo, very great. Thank you for your testimony. Calling Mr. Mark McNutt. Testifying on resolution, look like everything. A lot of numbers over here. A lot of numbers over here. Can I read all the numbers? Do I have to read all the numbers? How does this work?
I can match your quickness to say 11 of them can be said like in a minute. And I won't read the numbers, but it's just the chair, vice chair, and not the county clerk. I'd rather come back to 312 and resolution 612, 712, 812, 912, 1012, 1312, 1212, and 1112. Just like I say in about a minute, I am so happy with the way that you have assigned and organized. And I think it's important. My representative has got bureaucratic skills, and the others seem appropriate, other than the vice chair and one other council person. I only know about 4 of you. So I can't believe how young, the council is now. Average age, I haven't averaged it out, but I'm sure it's much lower than it's ever been. So I'd say that's enough for that. And to go, I had a couple emails passed out to you. I left mine over there, but I know one is one. It's dated 1:10 in the afternoon, and that's really the one in relation to. I think it says Hawaii County Council and its committees, and there's another one that is 3:51 in the afternoon, and the heading is 3 HCC items. So there's 2 there. And so I would like to combine the appointment of the county clerk and the rules of procedure, resolution 412, and communication 112. I would like to combine those 3 just on those emails, because I had a whole bunch of other stuff yet to be collated. But like on these 3, I could have just forwarded them to your email. But I spent the money. I turned in 14 copies. And you'll see that the Office of Information Practices, OIP of State of Hawaii, thinks that 1 minute per item is sufficient, and that's how it is in Honolulu City Council. At least that's what they gave them the okay for. So what I'm suggesting is go back to the old system, the way it was for many, many years. The person could testify at the beginning of the meeting and at the end, and you could give 150% of the allowable amount both times, and it would be the same amount of time that you have now. And that way people would be able to comment on what you do. And like I said, that's all. I went and I got the new rules of procedures. I paid for the old one. I copied them both. But I didn't get a chance to look at the new ones yet. But it occurred to me, I have a water bottle. You might want to have no open containers. Because I spilled a part of a glass of water over in a corner council chamber one time. And, you know, I just think it might be, you don't even need to put that in the council rules. You can just, like, you know, have it understood, unsaid, unwritten, you know, no open containers. And that would help me. So, like I said, I could have gone, you know, what is it, 15 times 3? I easily could have gone to 45 minutes, but that's why I'm taking ownership and suggesting. I didn't even, you know, check. I might have been going like 10, 15 minutes. I don't even know. But that's why I'm suggesting you go to a minute or a minute and a half at the beginning and a minute or a minute and a half at the end. And it used to be items on the agenda and off the agenda at the end. So therefore, you could get your, you know, Northwest Ordinance and all the things that we believe in. And it would be all proper, you know, and it wouldn't have to pertain to an agenda item. Yeah. So I'll just collate the other things and drop them off at the county clerk for you for later on, you know.
Thank you very much. Mahalo. I'd like to call up now R.J. Hampton. R.J. speaking on resolution number 6-12 and 8-12.
Aloha. My name is R.J. Hampton. I'm R.J. Hampton, so you don't have to be. You be yourself. That's the one thing. I just want to get that out. The other thing is I just want to congratulate you all. When I look around, I see auras around every last one of you, all right? I really do. And I expect the unity that they are pleading for in my community, the district, will be reflected in all of your work. Credibility is not given, folks. It is earned. Okay? Now, I'm not here to holler and shout, and I want you to know what is in my crop about the reorganization. So I want you to appreciate something. I only have 2, so we can move on. I'm kind of not happy about Resolution 612. The reason, although you have all of this fascination with the youth and everything, and it's all spilling over, and you want to give them a chance, to make the planning commissioner the head of planning is a committee. To me, with everything that's been happening for the past 10, 15 years, with the CDP and everything else, I'm asking you to really think, and I'm speaking to the chair, which is like a carom shot to my council person in the 5th district, that I will be watching him, and at any moment there is a conflict of interest, or an association of individuals who are greedy for some change without letting all of us know. I'm looking for my council person to treat us with the same respect that I'm going to give him now, because I don't want to rain on his time. So I'm going to keep the suggestion of aloha, no stink, no nothing. But let me tell you all something. You see me, I'm not threatening you. I'm looking forward to working with you and having enough time. So Jay, I really want you to agendize this meeting correctly. Make sure that we have enough information. I know you all are not supposed to be signaling to each other, but you all get creative about how you bring your resolutions and bills and describe them in the agenda. So people like me, believe me, we're up at 12 midnight trying to prepare, trying to help, trying to argue. Please, agendize this thing right and make sure that the descriptions are good enough for us to be able to at least make a decision. I'm just gonna watch because I really believe in the youth, and I believe this is the dawning of a new age, and it's a time to get things right and start a new page. So what I'm really looking for is that. So we have a thing in yoga. It's the hardest yoga to learn. It's called Zazen. And Zazen means forget it. So when I get up from this seat, I am going to forget the past and I'm going to think about the present, and I am going to work hard as a citizen. Politics is the science of citizenship, and I take responsibility for that. And with that, I would like to say mahalo, and I look forward to great legislation, tight legislation, and none of this pass it now, amend it later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, RJ. Appreciate it. I'd like to call up now Mr. Thanks again, Mark. Appreciate it. I'd like to call up now Mr. Robert Petricci, speaking on resolution number 4-12.
Well, thank you. Well, welcome all of you to your new jobs, and those of you returning, glad to see you. So first I want to talk to you guys about the website. The website has been kind of a problem for a long time. I hope you guys will take a look at that. It's really hard to navigate, and really cuts down on public participation because we can't really figure out what's going on. Really would appreciate it if we can finally get that fixed. It's not going to be that hard to fix. I have a couple of websites, and my websites are much easier to navigate than yours, and it's not that hard to do. So please fix that so we can participate. Okay. The rules. I like a lot of the rules. The ones that I saw in the paper, I thought they were good. I got one thing is the 6 p.m. cutoff. I don't like the 6 p.m. cutoff. Basically, we give up our day to come here, and a lot of times we'll spend the whole day here. And then it would be terrible for us to have to say, oh, I'm sorry, you don't get to be heard now. You're going to have to come back tomorrow and take another day off of work. And this is your job. You applied for the job. You got the job. And you only really have to meet twice a month, I think. Not sure, but it's not every day. And I really would appreciate it if you would, you're gonna have some of these issues that are gonna come up. You're gonna have 50 or 100 or maybe 200 people are gonna show up, and they want to be heard. And I hope you'll give them that chance. Aloha, welcome. See you soon.
Thank you, Bob. Is there anyone else wishing to testify and make a public statement this afternoon? If not, I hereby appoint Stuart Maeda as our temporary county clerk, and I would like to appoint council members Eoff, Kanuha, and Poindexter to the Credentialing COmmittee, and ask council member Eoff to serve as chair. If there are no objections, the committee will examine the credentials of all of the council members and report back to this body. We will take a brief recess as they do this. Thank you.